My rich boyfriend's parents paid me $50,000 to break up with him. I took it. They have no idea what I did with it. You know that moment when your whole world flips upside down? When everything you thought was real suddenly isn't? Yeah. That's exactly what happened to me on a cold Tuesday morning in October. My name is Emma, and I was 24 years old, working two jobs just to make rent in a cramped studio apartment on the wrong side of town. I was a barista by day, a waitress by night, and somehow, in between all that chaos, I had fallen completely, hopelessly in love with a guy named Daniel. Daniel wasn't just any guy. He was that guy. The one who made you believe in fairy tales again. Tall, kind eyes, a smile that could light up the darkest room. But here's the thing. Daniel came from money. And I'm not talking about comfortable money. I'm talking about the kind of wealth that builds wings on hospitals and has streets named after your family. His parents? Let's just say they lived in a world I could only see through magazine covers. We met at a coffee shop where I worked. He ordered a black coffee, left a $20 tip on a $3 drink, and came back every single day for 2 weeks until I finally agreed to go out with him. He wasn't like the other rich kids I'd seen. He was humble. He was real. Or at least, I thought he was. For 8 months, we were perfect. He never made me feel small because of where I came from. He loved that I worked hard. He loved my dreams. We'd spend hours talking about the future, about opening a community center for underprivileged kids, about making a difference. He made me believe that love didn't care about bank accounts. But then, they got involved. It was a Tuesday morning. I had just finished my shift at the cafe when I saw a black Mercedes parked outside my building. Tinted windows, expensive rims. My stomach dropped. I knew exactly who it was. Daniel's mother stepped out first. Diane Harrington. Fur coat, designer bag, heels that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Then his father, Robert. Cold eyes, sharp suit. The kind of man who could buy and sell people without blinking. They didn't come to chat. Miss Carter, Diane said, not even pretending to smile. We need to talk. They didn't wait for an invitation. They walked right into my tiny apartment like they owned it. And in a way, I guess they thought they did. Robert sat down on my old couch and pulled out an envelope. A thick one. He placed it on the coffee table between us. $50,000, he said. No emotion. Just numbers. It's yours. All you have to do is walk away from our son. I stared at that envelope. My hands were shaking. $50,000. Do you know what that kind of money meant to someone like me? It was rent for 2 years. It was paying off my student loans. It was freedom, but it was also the price tag they'd put on my love. You don't belong in his world, Diane added, her voice like ice. And deep down, you know that. You're a sweet girl, Emma. But Daniel has a future, a legacy. And frankly, you're a distraction. A distraction. That's what I was to them. Not a person. Not someone their son loved. Just an obstacle. I looked at that envelope again. And then I did something that still haunts me. I took it. You're probably thinking I'm a terrible person. Maybe I am. But let me tell you what happened next. Because it's not what you think. I called Daniel that same night. I told him we needed to talk. He came over immediately, worried, asking if I was okay. God. He looked at me with so much love. It made what I was about to do so much harder. I can't do this anymore, I said. My voice was steady, even though my heart was breaking. Us. This relationship. It's too much. He looked confused. Hurt. Emma, what are you talking about? Did something happen? I just. I need space. I need to focus on my life. You're moving too fast, and I can't keep up. It was a lie. Every single word. But I couldn't tell him the truth. Not yet. He tried to fight for us. He begged me to reconsider. He told me he loved me, that we could work through anything. But I stood firm. I watched the light fade from his eyes, and it killed me inside. When he finally left, I collapsed on my floor and cried for hours. But then I wiped my tears, opened that envelope, and started planning. See, his parents made one critical mistake. They assumed I'd take the money and disappear. They assumed I was just some gold digger who'd been waiting for a payout. They had no idea who I really was. That $50,000? I wasn't going to spend it on rent or shoes or some vacation. No, I was going to invest it. And not just in stocks or savings accounts. I was going to invest it in revenge. But not the kind you're thinking. Not slashed tires or angry texts. I'm talking about something much bigger. Something that would hit the Harringtons where it really hurt. Their reputation. I spent the next 3 days researching. Robert Harrington owned a real estate development company, a massive one. They built luxury condos and shopping centers, and on the surface, everything looked clean. But I had a feeling. A hunch. So I hired a private investigator. A good one. Cost me $8,000, but it was worth every penny. And what he found? It was explosive. Turns out, the Harringtons had been involved in some pretty shady deals. They'd been buying up low-income properties, forcing families out through legal loopholes, and then demolishing those buildings to put up luxury apartments. They'd bribed city officials. They'd cut corners on safety regulations. People had lost their homes because of them. But no one knew. Because they had money. Because they had power. Because people like me were supposed to stay quiet. Not anymore. Now, here's where things get interesting. I wasn't going to just leak this information to some random journalist and hope for the best. No. I needed to be smart. Strategic. I needed to make sure this stuck. So I took another $10,000 and hired a lawyer. A good one. Someone who specialized in tenant rights and housing fraud. Her name was Monica. And when I showed her what the investigator had found, her eyes lit up. "This is huge," she said. "If we play this right, we could take them down." But taking down a family like the Harringtons wasn't going to be easy. They had lawyers. They had money. They had connections. We needed something airtight. Something undeniable. So Monica and I worked together for the next 2 months. We gathered every piece of evidence we could find. Contracts, emails, testimonies from families who'd been forced out, photos of unsafe construction sites, financial records showing the bribes. I spent another $15,000 on this, paying for expert witnesses, tracking down former employees willing to talk, building a case so strong that not even the Harringtons' army of lawyers could tear it down. And, during all of this, Daniel kept trying to reach out. He texted me, called me, showed up at the cafe. He didn't understand why I'd ended things. He thought it was his fault. And every time I saw his name on my phone, every time I saw his face, my heart shattered all over again. But I couldn't tell him. Not yet, because if he knew what I was doing, he'd either try to stop me or get caught in the crossfire. And I couldn't let that happen. So I stayed silent. I stayed strong. And I kept building. By December, we had everything we needed. Monica filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of 12 families who'd been displaced by the Harringtons Company. We also sent our findings to 3 major news outlets and a housing advocacy nonprofit. And then, we waited. The news broke on a Monday morning. The headline read, "Harrington Real Estate Accused of Housing Fraud and Corruption." Within hours, it was everywhere. Local news, national news. Social media exploded. People were outraged. Former tenants came forward with their stories. City officials started investigations. The Harringtons' perfect reputation? It crumbled overnight. I'll never forget the day Daniel found out. He called me. His voice was broken, shaking. "Emma, did you see the news?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "I saw. My parents. They're saying it's all lies. But Emma, I've been looking into it and, oh God, it's true, isn't it? All of it." Silence. "Daniel, you knew," he said. His voice cracked. "That's why you left me. You knew what they were." "I didn't know when I met you," I said. "But yes, I found out." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I knew you'd defend them. Or try to fix it. Or get hurt in the process. I couldn't let that happen." He was quiet for a long time. Then, "The money. They gave you money to leave me, didn't they?" I closed my eyes. "Yeah, they did." "And you took it." I did. Another long silence. What did you do with it, Emma? I used it to destroy them. I could hear him breathing on the other end. And then, to my complete shock, he laughed. Not a happy laugh. A bitter, broken, disbelieving laugh. You used their money to take them down? Every single cent. God, he whispered. You're incredible. I didn't feel incredible. I felt tired, sad, victorious and empty all at once. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I lied. Don't be, he said. My parents, they've been doing this for years, haven't they? Hurting people. And I never looked. I never questioned. I was so blind. It's not your fault. Isn't it? His voice broke again. I loved you, Emma. I still do. And they tried to pay you off like you were nothing. Like we were nothing. I know. I'm leaving, he said suddenly. I'm leaving them. I don't want their money. I don't want anything from them anymore. Daniel, don't do anything rash. Rash? Emma, they destroyed people's lives. And they tried to destroy ours. I can't be part of that. I won't. The lawsuit took 6 months to settle. The Harringtons fought hard. But in the end, they couldn't fight the truth. They were ordered to pay $12 million in restitution to the displaced families. Robert stepped down from his company. Diane's charity foundation lost all its major donors. Their name, once untouchable, was now synonymous with greed and corruption. And Daniel? He kept his word. He walked away from his family's fortune, started over with nothing. He reached out to me one last time. 3 months after everything went public. We met at a small park near my apartment. I'm teaching now, he said. At a community college. It doesn't pay much, but it feels right. I smiled. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you too, he said. What you did. It was brave. Reckless, maybe, but brave. I still have $17,000 left, I said. From the 50,000. What are you going to do with it? I'm starting that community center, I said. The one we used to talk about. For underprivileged kids. I want to give them the opportunities I never had. His eyes filled with tears. Can I help? I'd like that. We didn't get back together. Not right away. Too much had happened. Too many wounds to heal. But we worked together. We built that community center from the ground up. And slowly, carefully, we rebuilt us. So here's what I learned from all of this. Money can buy a lot of things. It can buy houses and cars and silence. But it can't buy integrity. It can't buy justice. And it sure as hell can't buy real love. The Harringtons thought they could pay me to disappear. They thought $50,000 was enough to erase me from their son's life. But what they didn't understand was that I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for all those families they'd hurt, all those people they'd stepped on to build their empire. They gave me $50,000 to go away. I used it to make sure the world knew exactly who they were. And you know what the beautiful irony is? That money, their money, helped build something good. Something pure. It helped create a place where kids who have nothing can dream of having everything. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. Sometimes it's about creation. It's about taking the weapons used against you and turning them into tools for change. Did I feel guilty? Sometimes. Did I wonder if I did the right thing? Every single day. But when I see those kids walking into that community center, when I see their faces light up with hope, I know that every sleepless night, every tear, every moment of doubt was worth it. The Harringtons wanted to pay me off. They wanted me to take their money and vanish. I took their money, but I didn't vanish. I became exactly what they feared most. Someone who couldn't be bought. Someone who couldn't be silenced. Someone who refused to disappear. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.